You've managed cost control very well. Let's talk about that. How sustainable is it going forward?
Yeah, I think very sustainable, guys. We had a good quarter, across the board. Not a perfect quarter. We had some operational challenges in Nevada, but we've got through that. And just generally, on the back of the promises we made in 2019 with the merger and Randgold, a lot of delivery this quarter, as you say, cost still well controlled, and we've set up for a very strong finish for the year in quarter four. So all round good. The revenue's down a little bit on the back of softer commodity prices, but nothing to complain about.
Mark, hey, it's Alex in New York. Newmont talked about labor and COVID restrictions in Canada. A lot of the oil guys in the U.S. talked very much about costs going up anywhere between 10 and 20%. Does that mean that you do not think your costs are going to rise at all from here?
No, I think if you look at the underlying, there are some underlying costs. We still have quite a bit of work to continue to mitigate those costs. We set out to improve efficiencies, drop our overall age of our employer profile, particularly in North America, and that comes with better efficiencies, lower costs. And we've done well on the infrastructure supply chain side. There's risk across that, but we're seeing, if we set aside the power costs, because that's something really it's sort of we are unsure about exactly the cost of the diesel and power generally, but on the rest, the commercial pressures. 2% is probably a good number to finish off with in the year.
Papua New Guinea, everybody's waiting for details on exactly what progress you're making there in terms of getting things up and running again. Where are you?
So it's definitely not a hyperactive environment, Guy, when you talk about getting stuff done. It's very important we get the permitting properly, what we call a clear, acceptable permit to operate under, and we're busy with that. And I think we've got full alignment with the government. Papua New Guinea is a complex mining environment in that correctly so, the community ownership is a critical component of a licensing process. Once we get that behind us, and we're very focused on that now, we'll be, it's all systems go to restart the mine.
Mark, you've been in this industry for a really, really long time, and I'm wondering, for your perspective, is the cost of doing business now more expensive when you take into account, say, greening mining, environmental, social, and governance issues, governments wanting more piece of a pie, that gold prices stay high? Is it harder to do business right now? Can you give me the perspective?
No, I think, Alex, your observations are important, and they're things that, you and I have spent a lot of time talking over those many years. I don't know how to take that, but, we've spent a lot of time debating these things. And, license to operate, I believe we're in a change from, one era of doing business on a global basis to a new one. And myself and Randgold, we built a business on where license to operate, your partnership with your communities and your host country, was more valuable than the actual license that you get from government. And I think that's the new way of doing business. And, I don't think it's any more difficult. It's just different.
Mark, rates are rising around the world. Is it rates up, gold down? Briefly, if you would.
No, I think there's a lot of unknowns coming out. We've got massive GDP shrinkage around the world, enormous quantitative easing. I heard that conversation before this interview, and the consequences of that are really unknown. Well, they haven't been realized yet. You've got a lot of sloppy money chasing big bubbles in the market. I think it's gold is still up. It's probably not as high as it should be, but it's a measure that things are still very uncertain in this world.